Life, it begins with the faintest pulse, a fragile beat that blossoms into the symphony of existence. There is a quiet beauty in the simplest of things, in the way light bends through a dewdrop, in the rhythmic rise and fall of a child's chest as they sleep, or in the way the wind whispers secrets through the trees, as if the earth itself is alive, breathing in concert with us. Every moment, every breath, is a reminder of this intricate dance we are a part of. The delicate balance between creation and decay, the eternal interplay of light and shadow. Life thrives on this tension, doesn't it? Beauty, after all, is often born from the impermanence of things. A flower blooms in exquisite defiance of the inevitable withering. And yet, beneath the surface of all that is beautiful, there is a quiet unease. A subtle shifting, as if something forgotten is stirring. Life is beautiful, yes, but beauty is fleeting. We celebrate the dawn, though we know the night is always waiting. We marvel at the stillness of a calm sea, unaware of the abyss that lies beneath. Perhaps that is why we cling to these moments of light, knowing, deep down, that something in the heart of it all, is not, as it seems. For every perfect moment, there is an unspoken cost. A hidden truth, a whisper in the dark, telling us, reminding us that what we hold so dear, may already be slipping through our fingers. It was not long ago that we discovered them, an ancient race, one whose existence had been nothing more than whispers in the void, myth and nightmare woven into the fabric of forgotten stories. The Kuri. A name that now ripples through the air like an omen. They are not like us. They are not like anything we have ever known. And yet, they are here. The Kuri are not one, but many 5 species, each more enigmatic than the last. But who is the first of them? The Kuri Maledictus, that has been seen most often, and whose presence has sent ripples of fear through our kind. They are known by a darker name, the Cursed Wraith. It is said that the Maledictus are not merely creatures, but something far more insidious. They are parasites, feeding not on flesh, but on the soul's most vulnerable edges, our emotions. They thrive on what we discard, in what we cannot control. Fear, anger, sorrow, every negative emotion is a feast for them, a source of sustenance. They do not hunt like beasts, they do not attack with claws or teeth. Instead, they wait. They observe. Shapeshifters, they assume forms that conjure our deepest terrors, our darkest memories. They seek to unravel us from within. The Maledictus are cunning. They know that we are at our weakest when we are afraid. So they take the shape of what haunts us most, drawing out the very emotions that feed them. A face we dread, a voice we have not heard in years, or perhaps even a moment we have tried to forget. They bend reality, sowing confusion and doubt, their ultimate goal simple, to make you feel everything that will sustain them. But there is more to their hunger. The Maledictus do not merely feed, they twist what they consume. The emotions they draw from us are amplified, magnified, until what was once fear becomes terror, what was once sorrow becomes despair. They create the very nightmares they need to survive. They are called the Cursed Race for a reason. To encounter them is to feel your own mind slipping away, piece by piece, as they weave the fabric of your darkest thoughts into something far more tangible. And once they have fed, they leave nothing but shadows in their wake. But this is only the beginning. For the Maledictus are just one of the 5, and each of the Kuri has their own dark purpose, their own sinister way of feeding off the fragility of life. We had thought we knew fear before. We were wrong. It was not. When the Kuri Maledictus are at their weakest, when the weight of human emotions is not enough to sustain them, they revert to a form that is more primal, more terrifying in its simplicity. It is in this state that they are no longer the elusive race, no longer the shadow shifters who haunt our nightmares. Instead, they become something far more visceral. In their most basic form, the Maledictus are short, skeletal figures thin and wiry, their skin black as the void itself. The only visible feature upon their faces are their eyes, two glowing, malevolent orbs of deep crimson. Those eyes burn with an intensity that pierces the darkness, seething with hunger, with desperation. They are creatures of predation in this form, stripped of the elegance they use to manipulate our minds. What remains is pure survival. It is only when they have been drained of emotional sustenance that they reveal themselves like this. Stripped of their illusionary power, they become something far more physical. Though frail in appearance, do not be deceived by their size. In this weakened form, the Maledictus possesses a savage strength equal to that of an adult male gorilla, capable of snapping bones and rending flesh with ease. But it is not just their strength that makes them fearsome. Their speed rivals that of a cheetah, moving with a blur of motion that defies logic. In the blink of an eye, they can cross a room, lunge, and peer into their prey. For in this form, they are no longer content to feed in fear or sorrow. They become entirely carnivorous, driven by an insatiable hunger for flesh. The very essence of life is what they need to heal, to regain their strength. They tear through bone and sinew, feasting on the living, each bite restoring the power they lost. And once they have consumed enough, once their strength has returned, they shed this base form like a discarded skin, and the shadow shifting begins again. In this state, the Maledictus is raw, savage, and unrelenting. But it is only temporary. For, when their hunger is sated, they return to the shadows, resuming their role as manipulators, as predators of the mind. And once again, they become the creatures of fear we cannot see, until it is too late. The Kuru Maledictus, while terrifying in their power and subtlety, are not without their weaknesses. To encounter one is to dance with death, but there are ways, if you know what to look for, if you understand how they move through the world, to detect them. And perhaps survive. The first key to detecting a Maledictus lies in understanding their presence. Though they are masters of illusion, they cannot fully conceal their influence. When they feed in negative emotions, they distort the world around them subtly at first, but unmistakably. You might notice the air growing colder, heavier, as if the atmosphere itself thickens with unseen weight. Time may feel as though it slows, and sounds become distant, muffled. Pay attention to these shifts, they are the first signs that a Maledictus is near. But there is a more tangible method of detection. The Maledictus, while they can disguise themselves, cast no shadow in any of their forms. Even in their shadow-shifted state, they cannot mimic light as true interaction with their surroundings. When suspicion arises, observe carefully does the figure, before you cast a shadow. If not, you are already in its grip. And then, there are the eyes. In every form they take, no matter how human they appear, their eyes will betray them. The crimson glow of the Maledictus eyes is an inescapable feature, though it may be faint, barely a shimmer in the darkest corners of their gaze. Look for it. The eyes always tell the truth, no matter what mask they wear. But once you've detected a Maledictus, escaping it is an entirely different challenge. In their base form, they are physically overpowering, too strong, too fast for most to outrun. Yet there are ways to survive, even against the odds. When the Maledictus is in its weakened, true form, the black figure with red eyes, they are entirely dependent in flesh to regain their strength. In this state, they are ravenous but also limited. Their speed and strength are overwhelming, but they lack the subtlety and manipulation they normally possess. Fire, loud noises, and bright lights disorient them, as their heightened senses are sensitive to such stimuli. Use this to your advantage. If you cannot escape by speed alone, distract them, set fires, create blinding light. The chaos will slow them just enough to give you a chance to flee. But it is not only physical methods that will save you. Remember, the Maledictus thrives on negative emotions. Fear is their greatest weapon. If you can control your emotions, if you can remain calm in the face of their presence, you rob them of their power. It may seem impossible, but resisting the fear they induce weakens them. They feed in terror, in anger, in despair. Deny them this sustenance, and you weaken their hold over you. And finally, there is one truth about the Maledictus that may be their undoing. They are bound by the limits of their need. They cannot maintain a presence in a place devoid of negativity for long. If you can reach a space where positivity, joy, or tranquility reigns, where they cannot conjure the emotions they need, they will wither. Religious sites, places of celebration, anywhere untouched by the darker shades of human emotion can serve as a temporary sanctuary. These are the rarest of refuges, but in them, the Maledictus cannot survive. They are not invincible. They are predators, yes, but predators can be outwitted. Detect them before they strike. Disorient them, if you can, and most importantly, rob them of the fear they need to thrive. And if you cannot fight, run. Run until the light finds you again.